Sorry I'm late to my own show. How are you? It's another rainy day at the yurt. Yay! I do love rainy days. I'm not going to kid you on that. However, on a recording day, it's not the best. Can you hear it? Oh well, it is what it is. And we're going to go with it. So, Yurt.Cast number 2. I got the idea from A.Yurt.Cast, to call it a Yurt.Cast, from a fellow podcaster, Judy, from the Autumn Acorn. And so, when she said, yay, a Yurt.Cast, I said, I'm going to use that. That's going to be what I call it from now on. So, I don't think I've really recorded too many times from the yurt. I should go back and check. But we're going to go with Yurt.Cast number 2. It's probably more like 3 or 4 because I have recorded at my mom's with my sister, and I haven't recorded a lot this year. But anyway, Yurt.Cast number 2, episode number 34, I think. Again, I was going to have notes. I was going to be all organized. Famous last wishes. How have you been? It's fall and it's all the crofty weather. I have nothing completed to show you. So I really debated on whether I should even podcast because I thought, well, I don't have any finished objects. But I'm just going to show you what I'm working on. It'll probably be a short podcast, so that's good. But I just knew if I didn't today, next week would not be a good week for me. And then the next week, I think the girlies are coming up for a week. So I just knew time was going to get away from me. And I've committed to myself that I was going to try and record at least once a month or every 2 weeks. I want to do every 2 weeks, but at least once a month. So I just decided we're going with it. We're going with it. So here we are. If you're new, my name is Joyce. I will tell you, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to tell you a little bit about the podcast. Just as an update. So if you are new, you'll just get a start from the beginning with us. And if you're returning, I'm sure you don't mind hearing it again. But it is called Ruby Moss Cottage because Ruby is from my grandmother. Ruby Moss Cottage was the name that we had given the house that we lived in before the yurt. And it was on a street that had the name Moss in it. I did have a lot of moss in our property. So Ruby from my grandmother, Moss from the cottage, and Ruby Moss Cottage. Then we moved up here to the yurt. I thought I would never leave. That was my forever home. That was us. I had created it from the ground up. We had it built. I mean, it was so unique and beautiful. And we had so many years of happy memories there, raising our family, raising our granddaughters. But life has its funny twists and turns. So my husband was just wanting to get out of the business, and the business that he had had for 30 some years. And it was just a time for change. So we sold the cottage and we moved to the mountains. And we moved to this yurt. Now that is a dream. A yurt has been a dream of mine for several years. But I didn't really think that my husband would ever do it. But when he came to look at this, just to appease me, he fell in love with the mountain, with the view. And I think he really fell in love with the yurt because now we're both just like in our element right here. So I was going to change the name to something else. And I thought, but you know what? This looks like a little mushroom cottage. It's, there is moss everywhere up here. I mean, like, I thought I had a lot of moss at Ruby Moss Cottage, the original. It's everywhere here. And I am a lover of all things mossy. So, carrying my grandmother with me in my heart forever, I just thought, you know what, we're going to go with it. We're going with Ruby Moss Cottage. And here we are. Now, I've been podcasting, I guess, for something like 3 or 4 years. I probably should know that fact. I don't. But when I first started, I was having a meeting. I was having lunch with my girls, and we were talking about it, and just hashing through all the pros, the cons, the what ifs, and is there really what I want, and blah blah blah, and what paths we wanted to take. Well, when we were sitting there talking, there was a lady in behind us, and she evidently was listening, and because it probably wasn't so much as eavesdropping as we're just loud talkers in our family, so she was probably trying to have a quiet lunch, and we just invaded with our mouths. And so she probably felt like, well, I can just give you some information. When she left, she was a young girl, and she was just giving me ideas of things like knitting the Highlander series, or she had something else. It was a show I'd never heard of, but she was just a sweet girl. And she said, well, just remember that in all you do, take it one stitch at a time. And I was just like, that just fell on me. And so that's the closing. That's where the closing comes from, when I say, and remember that in everything you do, take it one stitch at a time. So, welcome. If you're new, now you're caught up to date. I think that's just about all there is to tell you about the podcast. I try to record the intent was every 2 weeks when I started out. And then I get busy with life. And I'm such a bad podcaster, because I get out and I live life and I forget, oh, I should be recording this, or oh, I should be taking pictures and sharing it with you all. I forget. I don't live in a podcast Instagram frame of mind. I just live. And then podcasting and Instagram is part of my life. So I wish I gave you much more than I do. And I try. I really keep thinking, okay, I'm going to get better at this. Like, my husband and I, we love to hike on the weekends. There's just so much. We're in the Great Smoky Mountains. And there are just mountains on top of mountains on top of mountains to explore, valleys and towns, and it's just like our dream place. And so we leave out of here on Saturdays and Sundays to go explore, and it never fails. I get out in the woods, and it's such beautiful scenery, and my iPhone just does not capture it. And I think, why didn't I bring my phone? Why didn't I bring some props? Why didn't I bring some of my knitted or my crocheted stuff so that I could share it with them? I never remember. I'm just so excited. Oh, we're going hiking, or we're going exploring, and I forget, oh, you know what? Let's just take your audience along. I just want to get better at that, because really life is so beautiful. You need to see it and experience it with me. This past weekend, I did take some photos on the with my phone, and I will insert them in either here or at the end. But we had, oh my gosh, we drove the parkway, and we would get out, and we would just take random trails, and we would walk across, we would come up on waterfalls and just gorgeous views, and we would meet people on the paths, and it was beautiful. It was peak season here. So did I forage anything? The only thing I foraged was some little berries that I'm still trying to decide if they're hollies. I think I asked that question in my Instagram stories, if anyone knew what it was, and someone said that it's just really up in the air. Some people, then I had a lady tell me she thinks it could be a deciduous holly, that we have them in this area. I don't know. But that was the only thing I think I foraged this weekend. But you know what I discovered? And of course my husband knew this, I discovered there are different kinds of acorns. Hold on, I'm gonna go get some. I only discovered 2, but let me go get them for you. Okay. This one is the kind that we have here on this mountain. And these are the typical ones that I've seen my whole life. This, however, I discovered in Charlotte at a park when we were, I was out with my grandies. But look at that one. Is that focusing in on it? Look how frilly that top is. So, you know, when I told my husband, I didn't know there were several different acorns because there's a lot of different acorns. I don't think he knew that. I mean, I know he's a hunter and I know he's out in the woods a lot, but isn't that cool? So that, look at the two different tops. I learned something new about acorns. And evidently there's a lot of different ones. So maybe that's what I need to do now is explore all the different types of acorns. So I think I was telling you what I've just, all of our exploring. So, and pine cones. Of course, I know there's a lot of different kinds of pine cones, but I've been picking those up along the way, taking different pictures of different mushrooms. That's fun. But that's it. Taking walks daily on the mountain here and having my cuppa every day, knitting, crocheting, and embroidering. Those have been my 3 crofts this last few days. Okay, and another thing, since the last time I podcast, another thing, if you're new, you will hear me say croft instead of craft, because I like the way my British friends or my European friends, I guess it depends on where you're from. Since I've said that, someone has let me know that it's only the southern part of the UK that says croft. Only fitting, because I live in the southern part of the US. So, one more little tidbit that you learned about me. Joyce, not Ruby, but you feel free to call me Ruby, because a lot of my close friends that I've met here do. All right. What else have I been doing? Not a whole lot. Just like I said, crofting. So I'll just get right back into that. Let's get into that. And so I said I had nothing new finished. So I thought, well, I'll wear something. That way it'll be a finished object that I can show. So what I have on is the Lighthouse Keepers sweater. I think I'm getting it confused with some books I've read. I think I read a book, The Lighthouse Keeper's Wife, but I think this is just called the Lighthouse Keeper. It is one of my favorites. I wear it a lot. It's the perfect throw and go. It has a little hood on it, which I never use the hood. But this is, and it's kind of like, okay, short. You're not going to be able to see. It's short in back and long, and has the long. If I stand up on this chair, there. Hey. So, it's just a kind of a slouchy. It has like belled sleeves. I cannot remember what of this I have, if I've changed any of the pattern. Goodness, I knit this several years ago, but I still wear it a lot. This is one that I would probably make again. I don't remember what I knit it in. I cannot remember. But I wear it a lot. I should knit it like in black or navy. But this is kind of has some peels to it. So the Lighthouse Keeper sweater, and I don't even know who designed it. I'll have all that in the show notes. So check the show notes. If you need information of anything that I talk about, please check the show notes. So let me tell you what I've been doing. I had this little notebook. I don't want the light to glare on it. It's such a cute notebook. And there was nothing in it. I'm a notebook nut. Like, I buy a notebook in a heartbeat. And I'll figure out what I need to do with it later. So, I just had a birthday. And, you know, that a lot of people's New Year starts January 1st. My New Year starts October 21st. And so, that's when I come up with my new word for the year. I have a word every year. I've done this for eons. And so last year the word was adventure, and boy, what has it been an adventure? I went to, we bought the yurt, went to Norway, COVID, you know, all this other crap that's going on. And a lot of it good, a lot of it bad. Some of it bad, a lot of it good, some of it bad. But so, yeah, that year of my life was a true adventure. This year, the word is learn. And so what I did is I wrote the word learn at the front of this, and I'll doodle on this down through the year. But it's a crofter's journal. And so I've got a knitting section, and I'm going to write detailed notes of what I knit this year. Detailed notes. Because I don't really post on Ravelry anymore. And Instagram, when I take photos of things, sometimes I forget to take photos of things and post it. And then sometimes I don't give all the details. So I'm taking very detailed notes of my project. So I have a knitting section. I have a crochet section. I have a recycled, repurposed, reused section, and that's where I'm going to take other objects and turn them into other objects. I have a needlework section. I have a quilting section. So I'm going to keep track of all of my makes for this year in this book. So I've been working on that, and the projects that I'm going to show you, the projects that I'm going to show you are detailed in here. So when I'm showing them to you, I'm going to have, if I have this with me at the time, I'm going to have all the notes that I need as far as the designer, the hook size or the needle size that I'm using, and the yarns that I'm using. So I really enjoy that kind of stuff. I'm like a notebook kind of supplies kind of person. I get into all of those details. But so I've been working on that and putting it together. So let me start then with what is in here, my knitting project. Okay, so if you'll remember the last podcast, in my a Tinty bag, I have a needle hanging out, the pajama cardigan by the Autumn Acorn, Judy from the Autumn Acorn. I was starting that. Okay, this is a sweater that is pieced together. I cannot tell you the last time I did a sweater that was pieced together. I am a big in the round knitter, or at least one piece, at least. I can attach the sleeves, but sides, back, sleeves, pockets, all of that, each little piece. I haven't done a project like that in forever. And I'm really glad that I didn't realize that when I fell in love with this pattern, because I may not have made it. I think it's going to be a piece that I'm just really excited to have. But the knitting is like, sorry, Judy. I love the knitting, like the backside. I'll show you the backside. Now remember, I'm knitting from stash because I just have we live in a yurt, and I have an abundance of yarn and fabrics that I've got to use up. So I had to use stash, so I did not have enough. This is a big sweater. I did not have enough to knit the whole sweater, so I had to color block it. So I'm happy with my colors choices. This is the back of the cardigan, the pajama cardigan. This fabric is, this fabric, I did need one more worsted weight yarn that kind of flowed. So I did have to go to Hobby Lobby and pick this up. Actually, my mama bought this for me. But it is by Yarn Bee. Let me see if I can get that in a place where it's not going to have a glare on it. I love this Hobby Lobby yarn. The price point was $5.49. It's called Rustic Romantic, and it's kind of like a tweed, as you can see there. This color is called Oaky Wheat 09. I want a whole sweater of this stuff. It feels so good. Now I understand that it's not wool, and I understand that it's probably not, well, it's not high quality. I understand. That's my sister texting me. She's doing really good. She just finished her last chemo infusion. She's on her last couple of weeks of chemo pills, and she'll have her surgery, her second surgery. She has her consultation in November 4th. I'm so excited about her. She has been one strong woman. I was getting ready to tell you what the blend of this was. It's acrylic and hemp. So I understand if you're not an acrylic lover, I got it. Typically, neither am I. But Style Craft for blankets and this I love. I'm going to make a sweater of it. It may be a high pillar. I don't know. Don't even really care. It's beautiful and it feels amazing. So that's at the top of my back. And then this pattern right here, that stitch pattern is so fun to knit. I love that. And then this is just Cascade I have. This is Cascade as well. This is Cascade. Both of these are Cascade 220s that were in my stash from when I worked at a local yarn shop. Good heavens. Natalie was born, so probably 9 years ago. And I worked for yarn instead of money. So that's where I really built up a lot of my stash. So this stuff has to get used up. So I thought, well, I'll use it. And then this is purple. And I think it's going to, I don't know if it's going to come across as brown or purple, but it's a deep, deep purple. And this is what they call coral. So this is the back side. I have two of the, both sides finished, and they keep rolling up on themselves. So my needle, okay, they keep rolling up on themselves. So these are the sides. And so I have two sides. And then last night I started the pockets. So this orange, I don't have enough of the purple. I wanted to do purple pockets, but I still have to do a pattern on each sleeve. So I was afraid to use that. Plus I have to go up around with the purple. That might not happen. That might have to be something else. So this yellow pocket will go on the orange side. I wanted to have this done for you, this podcast, and then we were just going to have a pajama party. Maybe next podcast will be a pajama party where I will have my pajama cardigan finished. I will wear my pajamas with my pajama cardigan, and you can stay in your pajamas, and we'll just have a good old time together. That is what I'm doing as well. No, that's not my only knitting project. I was going to say that was my knitting project. Let me tell you, about this, I'm just trying to see if I adjusted the needle sizes. I think I did. Yes, I did. I did. She calls for one size, and I could not get gauge, and I couldn't get the right fit of cardigan. So I chose the small, but I went up a needle size. So I think that's the only adjustments that I did on that. The other thing I'm knitting is, okay, my friend Marta had this beautiful shawl on when we went to Norway. And on my birthday, she sent me the picture of me wearing her shawl because I wanted it really bad. It's the effervescent shawl. It is gorgeous. And I thought, I want that to be a birthday cast on. This cardigan here, my sister and I are knitting together as a birthday cast on. Although I started it before my birthday, it's still a birthday cast on. But then on my birthday, actually, I did this on the day after my birthday. I wanted, when Marta sent me that, I thought, I want to do that effervescent shawl. But I had to dig enough through my yarn to get enough yarn for that. And I knew I was not in the mood for that. And plus, I will want to be particular with those colors because it is a beautiful shawl. I'll put that picture in here that Marta sent me. So I decided to start the Shift Cowl by Andrea Mowry because it gives the illusion of color work. and it's pretty, and oh, am I loving it. So I'm using Stash yarn again. Let me show you. Isn't that beautiful? And this says happy birthday. This is this Progress Keeper my sister gave me for my birthday, I think last year. But this will be a cowl, and I'm not sure how it's going to work because it gets big and then there's some seaming to it. But I think that, oh my gosh, that is so comfortable. This may be one that I wear forever. But it's not color work, but it gives the appearance of it. It's, what do they call this? Mosaic knitting. So that's what I'm knitting. I'm using, again, Stash. This was some Arcania. Let me see if this is some Rowan that I had. And then I have some random balls. This feels like it may be, it doesn't feel like it. I know it is. It's the vintage. It's an acrylic yarn. I cannot remember what the name of it is. But it's a great yarn. I bought that at I worked for it at the yarn shop whenever I worked there. So, that's going to drive me crazy. You don't need to know. It's just Stash. But it's still going to drive me crazy. So I'm working on that. And I'm carrying it in this leather jewel bag that my friend and I, one of my niches, started to go to the Maryland Sheep and Wool 3 years ago, I think. And my back was so far out of whack. We got about 2 hours from the house and we had to come back. Oh, that was a bad time. But anyway, coming back, Julie and I stopped at some yarn shops because we had to have yarn. And the pain I was in, I remember that. Ooh, that was bad. Okay. Next, let me go into my crochet. Okay. And this is just an update because remember I found all of the squares in this, in this basket that was in another basket when I was cleaning. Let me show you. I'm having fun with these squares. I'm doing the 21-day challenge that Marta from Martusha, I'm doing the 21-day challenge that Martushka Makes is hosting right now. So I have to do 3 squares a day. Let's get this that fell. I have to do 3 squares a day. And that's great because it's keeping me motivated. So I started, do I have that here? Or is it in here? Oh, well. I started putting them together too, but that must be in another area because it's not here. Yes, it is. So I've started hooking them together. And remember, I was going to change out some of this blue on some of them. I've decided not to. I've got so much of the blue that I'm going to use it. But my favorite colors are ones that I worked up yesterday. I think they look so vintage. These are the 3 that I did yesterday. This, and this. Aren't those beautiful? Oh my gosh. When I did this one, I thought, oh, these are just my colors. I love this. I'm going to start decorating with those colors. I'm going to start making things with those colors. And then I looked around my house and it was like, well, yeah, you decorate in these colors. But those were the 3 I did yesterday. And then the day before that, I did some with this orangey color in the middle. And the day before that, I did some with this green color in the middle. Up until that, all the colors in the middle were yellow. Yeah. They were like yellows. And then I thought, well, since I'm not going to change this out, let's change this middle color out. Because all of them were yellow, white, different color, blue. And I just didn't want all of the whole blanket to be like that. It just looked too dark to me. So I feel like changing it up gives it a little bit of pop. And then I can live with all that blue. So yeah, still working on that. That will be a long work in progress. The 21-day challenge is helping, but it's not going to complete it by any way. It means, okay, there's only one other thing, and then we're finished. One other thing I'm working on, it is embroidery. Okay, so I'm going to put a video in here of me wearing this hoodie, this long hoodie that I have. And I never wear it because I feel like it makes me look like a thug when I wear it. I wear it around here, you know, walking. When we were taking this video, we were going for a walk. And so I wear it around here, but I never wear it out. And then, you know how these things show up in your Instagram feed, like advertisements? I saw something like this and I thought, I have the perfect hoodie to transform. So I have started embroidering on it. So this is down the one side. So I've embroidered flowers and trees and birds. This, I still have to put some flowers in there. I might put a little bunny rabbit in there. And then on this pocket, I think I don't know. I've got ideas, but this is the one side that's complete. Well, no, it's not complete, that I've started on. I am going to have fun with this because I feel like you can't mess it up. I mean, you don't wear it anywhere anyway. So even if I don't like it, then I was only going to wear it around the house around here to begin with. So I'm going to stand up here so you can see, like, it's just a really long hoodie. Cute, huh? So, if you have a piece of clothing that you don't wear, you can recycle it or repurpose it or just have fun with it. I had a sweater this morning that I put on. It's not really a sweater, but it was a knit kind of thing. And I just didn't like it. I never wear it. And I thought, okay, this is going out because I don't like it today. And I rarely wear it. I'm not going to wear it. So, but I loved the way it felt on my arms. So I cut the sleeves off of it before I tossed it. And I'm going to make like hand warmers just to wear around here when A.Yurt can get kind of chilly. I mean, we have great heating system and the radiant floors. And we're going to put in a wood burning stove. But still, you know, there's sometimes when, especially if you've been gone and you come in, you know, you haven't been cooking or living or whatever, just be a little chill. And sometimes when I'm knitting in the mornings, I have a lot of hand warmers that I've knit, and I'll just put those on and knit with. So I thought, well, you know what? Don't waste the whole thing. So I cut that off. So, yeah. I didn't have anything out of my bags, but I had a lot in my bags. And, oh, my book bag. Okay, so the book bag, I just finished this, The Dove Keeper by Alice Hoffman. I really enjoyed it for about this much. And then I was over it. Then it was just like, okay, get on with this story. I've had different reviews because I think I put this up on Instagram that I was reading at one time, and someone asked me if I liked it, if I liked her writing. This is the first book I've read of hers. I will read again. There's another one, a Big Magic, or there's a book out of hers that I would like to read. I'm going to give her one more go. But if she keeps getting lost in the details like she did in this one, I probably won't read anymore. But having said that, this takes back like early Judaism. And when they're escaping the Romans that have taken over Jerusalem. So, you know, it's an interesting era for me. And maybe that was it is an interesting era, but it's not. I mean, like, I enjoy some of it, but not all the details that she goes into. And then some of the details, I'm like, that's not right. Well, you know, I talk to the books. Just like I talk to the TV. I talk to Candy Crush, you know. That's all that's in my book bag. Right now I'm listening to the book, I want to say The Invention of Wings, but I'm not sure that's right. And I'm not really into that. I don't know what it is about me being into books. I'm just not. I've been crofting so much that when I stop to read, I read a lot this summer. But now I don't know if it's the season, I don't know, but like I stop to read and my mind is thinking about the things I could be making or create, like cleaning around here this week, or we're getting ready to leave again to go visit our grandies. So it won't happen this week, but next week I think we're going to cut out some of the cabinetry and move the refrigerator. I'll try to take before and afters or maybe video some of that. Maybe I can remember to do that. But I think that's it. I am knitting socks. Well, actually, I'm getting ready to start a pair. I've got the bag ready. This bag. Speaking of, okay, this is the bag that's going to hold the next set of socks that I'm making. So if you've ordered socks, I am working on socks. I just am about to fill this bag by Bed of Roses with all the minis that are going to go into the next pair of socks that I'm making. Bed of Roses. Also, this knitter's necklace is from Bed of Roses. It has stitch markers and progress keepers on it. It's a very bohemian vibe. I love her jewelry. I've got, oh gosh, 3 or 4 necklaces. And last year I did her advent calendar. And oh, I wish I could have done it again this year. But her bags are top notch. This is one of my favorites. So this is going to be holding the next socks that I do. And I am working on your socks, I promise. So if you've ordered, I'm getting to them. So I am working on socks. I just haven't got a pair started right now, but they're going to get started today so that I can get those done and shipped off. But that's it. I hope that you are having fun with all your crofty things, or you are just spending some relaxing time. I hope you're filling your mind with beautiful and peaceful things. Gosh, turn off the news and just there's a lot of good going on in the world that I feel like just doesn't get reported. Oh, one more thing. Okay, some good podcasts. Amy from Exterminate. She's on Instagram. She just started a new podcast. You have to go give her some love. I think she's just released a little blurb, and then I think she's going to start a November vlog. So I cannot wait for that to start. I have followed Amy for years. Her sock knitting is beautiful, so make sure you check her out. Meanwhile, at the Castle is another great one that I've recently discovered. I've followed Candy Shop Yarns forever. I did not know she had a podcast. It's good, so go check them out. Gosh, there was another one and I cannot remember. I should have wrote it down, and I did write it down somewhere. I don't even know where my podcasting notes are. My podcasting notes are probably on my phone that I'm recording with. That sounds like something smart that I would have done. Okay. I have time for this. 39 minutes. I've got time for this. We're getting ready to go visit our grandies for a few days, celebrating my birthday. My grandson, who is 6, could not understand why Gigi could not come to his house on her birthday for cake. He just could not understand that. So I can't wait to get there this week and celebrate. But he is 6, and so he's, they're little sponges. He's learning so much. He came home from school the other day, and he said to his mommy, "Mommy, as is not a bad word." And she said, "No, Jude, as is not a bad word." And he said, "Like if I say that house is as big as a plate, that is not bad." And she said, "No, that's not bad." He said, "But if I say, whoa, that's a big ass house, now that's bad." He goes to a Christian school, so I'm sure that teacher got a real kick out of that story. I don't know who said it. I don't know where it originated. I don't know where he came up with that, but that plate is as big as a house, or that house is as big as a plate is not bad. But if I say, whoa, that's a big ass house, then that's bad. On that note, I'm going to leave you to all of your crofty endeavors. I hope you're having a great fall, end of October. November is almost here. And just remember that in all you do, take it one stitch at a time.